Hello, boys and girls. It is the 12th of March, and a soon-to-be bloody mark day it is. Well, what can we say? The Zelensky leech has latched on to the Trump shark. Trump is showing his true colors. The negotiations in Saudi Arabia went very well for all parties involved. First and foremost, the American military-industrial complex, which I guess has offered the Trump team the same kickbacks that was offering the Biden team, or paying the Biden team. Look what happened. So Trump, after all these antics and putting Zelensky in his place, first of all, changed the plan again from the fund, the slush fund, paying out 50% to America and 50% to Ukraine, to 100% to America. So what does slush fund mean? So Zelensky is trying to resell mineral rights. And inflated them by about 10 times what's really there. There's no 15 billion. There may be, I'm sorry, trillion. There may be 1.5 trillion, probably less than that. Over half of which is now in behind Russian borders. So that's locked out. So, and all of this was sold to various oligarchs, stolen from the oligarchs, resold again, and then resold to various European oligarchs, and then stolen from them, confiscated from them, and on a secret clause resold to the English, while Zelensky was trying to sell it to the Americans. So the Americans, of course, found out about this, and the secret clauses on the 100-year vassalization of Ukraine to UK deal. So Trump changed it to that slush fund where everything that Ukraine earns from anything goes in a slush fund, whether from the export of minerals, oil, gas, working of ports, tolls, organ sales. Hey, Ukraine, well, we're organ sales. Ukraine earned almost $4 billion in taxes from organ sales. Organs come from live bodies, ladies and gentlemen, not from dead bodies. You can't cut out organs from a dead body. They start to necrosize almost instantly once the oxygen is no longer getting there. So no, the body still has to be alive. Maybe brain dead, maybe not, but it has to be alive when you cut out those organs. It won't be for long afterwards, but that's how it goes. $4 billion last year they earned off of that, off of just taxing that. And children's organs, believe me, they're cutting kiddies up left and right, at least the ones that aren't being shipped out to Europe to the pedophiles and the black organ donors and the Satanists out in America and Western Central Europe. And on top of that, by the way, just look how much Ukraine earns just off of blood that it exports to the West. It's something like $200 or $300 million. A country that's at war, wounded soldiers need blood, and it's exporting, massive market exporting blood. So it's basically taking those wounded soldiers and draining them and dumping their bodies off in a pit, claiming that they died in combat or died from injuries. I mean, that's the Satanists that America supports. But why should we be surprised? Look what America supports and Europe supports in Syria. Thousands upon thousands of murdered women and children, breastfeeding babies, bashed, shot, had their throats cut. All of this is coming out because the jihadists get off on this. So they're videotaping it for their future circle jerk sessions. And Jelani's coming to Europe for a fundraiser. That's the Satanist you're sitting under. And that, by the way, if you're not smart enough to figure it out, is coming to your country. Those are the people that are going to be cutting your throats and oppressing you, working for the very people who are raising money for them right now in Syria. That's a training ground if you haven't figured that one out yet. And all those people are coming straight back to you. And you're the kafir that is going to be pushed down, taxed out, and cut up if he ever raises his head. You think that's not going to be an enforcement class for your owners? I mean, seriously, once the majority of you are dead on the battlefield fighting us, those that are left are going to be the oppressed minority. And your women folk are going to be real well taken care of. Oh yeah, they're going to take care of them real well. So think about that. I mean, think about that seriously. You think the Islamic regime isn't full active in the UK, where they have 2-3 tier policing and judicial system? Well, the bottom tier is the Aborigines. That is the English and the Scots and the Welsh, the actual English, Scots, and the Welsh. They're the Aborigines now on the colonized islands of England and North Ireland. And Ireland itself is doing the exact same thing. Sinn Féin is the ultimate Judases. 100 years ago, the people that formed Sinn Féin and fought for Irish independence and freedom, if they could see what these people are doing now, they'd shoot them all to the last one. This is how bad it is. I mean, this is really how bad it is, and it's coming to you. Don't think it isn't. So Zelensky climbed on the Trump bandwagon, got on his knees to do his duties, and now there's going to be they're all agreed, except for us, of course, except for the Russian side. They all agreed on 30-day ceasefire. Which, of course, doesn't mean that the Ukrainians are going to be moving troops around now that Kursk has fallen. And I've said this before many months now. Kursk was nothing but a huge trap for the West. The NATO generals planned out the mission. They found what looked like an easy, empty sector with just conscript soldiers on the border, and they launched their attack. And they had 5-day window to get to the nuclear power plant, and they couldn't do it because everybody understood that's where they're going to be going, whether or not they admitted it. It was set up as an easy sector to invade with a big tempting target called the nuclear power plant, the Kursk nuclear power plant, a huge power plant. Of course, there was enough forces in the deep to be able to block any movement forward. So they didn't. I think they got within like 20 kilometers of it. It's still pretty damn far. When you're talking about war. And that was it. And after that, the reason it didn't close Kursk wasn't because the Russian army couldn't do it. It did. Oh, well, look how fast it did it. Now it's time to do it. The reason Kursk wasn't closed was because it was a great kill sack. Fire sack, kill sack. Kill sack is fire sack is in Russian. Kill sack is in English. The enemy put their head in a noose. They're getting fired on from 3 directions directly and indirectly getting fired on their deep rear to which they were moving troops in. The Ukrainians lost about 50,000 Ukrainians, Americans, hundreds of American mercs dead, NATO mercs dead. Oh yeah, they were all getting whacked left and right. There's about 50,000 corpses lying around there. A few thousand surrenderies, and what's left is either surrounded in small pockets or running and getting whacked as they're running and having dropped all the equipment they could because they couldn't get equipment out. So once it was time to close Kursk, well, he got the most blood out of it, and it was time to close it, so they couldn't even think about trying to use it for anything. It got closed quick, real quick. Before that, the point was to continue pressure. Not too much movement, but enough pressure that the enemy will keep pumping in troops, keep pumping in fresh meat to try to hold. If you do too fast, then they may start retreating. You just put enough pressure on there, and you put enough pressure on their main supply route, because there really was one major supply route left. If you've seen the videos, it was just lined with blown up vehicles, Ukrainian vehicles, coming from Sumy to Kursk. So they just kept pumping in troops, which is exactly what they're supposed to have done. And we kept turning them into meat. So this cannon fodder just kept going up and up and up. Now it's no longer needed. They got closed real quick. So there you go. And I guess the Trump team panicked a little too. Zelensky got everything, so weapons are going back. 100% America's not going to supply weapons to Zelensky. Let's not forget, when Trump said this war wouldn't have happened if I was there, it would have. Don't let him lie his way through this. Absolutely, it would have. Trump set this up. Okay? So Obama did the revolution. They started reforming the Ukrainian army under Obama. And then Trump started flooding them with weapons. Trump did that. The thing is, as Trump lost the elections to Biden, or Biden stole the elections, I'm more inclined to Biden stole the elections, but whatever. To each his own to decide how that ran, and whose inclination goes to which side. But either way, Trump just didn't have enough time to start this little war. But it came to Biden's turn to do it. So no, it's not that it wouldn't have happened. It absolutely would have happened. It was supposed to happen. Just Trump didn't get the glory of it. Now he's taking it fully on himself. Absolutely. It's his war now, his baby. All the military intelligence is also going. So let me understand this. We're gonna do a ceasefire for 30 days and start negotiations. So if you're doing a ceasefire and start negotiating, why are you pumping them full of weapons and intel? Inquiring minds want to know. Of course we know why they're doing it. And the moment the ceasefire, NATO starts dropping troops in there. The tripwire troops are going to be, instead of them getting whacked as they're trying to get into position, if it's a full-on war, they'll already be in position. That's right. There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Russian side already said, go pound sand, go jump on a lake, go to hell. There's going to be no ceasefire. Either negotiations and end of conflict once negotiations are signed, not ceasefire while negotiations are going. Negotiations go for years while they're arming. There's not going to be no Minsk 3. The hell with that. And if this means America fully pulls into this war, or NATO, by all means, we'll have a big war. You're not going to scare Russians with war, for God's sakes. You've been attacking us for 1,000 years, since 1012 AD. The West has been invading Russia. Yeah, you can take us for 1,000 years, you're not going to take us now. And nobody's going to give you time to just build up weapons and everything else there while we sit by on our hands and wait for you to start round 2 of this conflict. Of the big conflict. So no. Of course, Trump then gets his way either way, so he'll be piling weapons on. America is not out of this. And by the way, the murder, death, kill list, Mirotvorets, which I'm on and a lot of other people are on, a lot of Americans are on there, American journalists are on there. It's still active. Registered out of Langley, Virginia. That's where the servers are that hold the Ukrainian murder, death, kill list, on which many American journalists, independent journalists are on. One of whom, Jim White for InfoWars, was murdered 2 days ago. And another one, also from InfoWars, Chase Geiser, was beaten the crap out of yesterday. That's right. Did the Trump administration forget about that? Have they said anything about American journalists being murdered in America in front of their houses? No? Oh, wait a minute. Did Rubio not say anything about that? Oh, maybe he mentioned that in secret talks to Zelensky. Doubt it, but hey. Well, there's always that chance in that 15D chess that some people think Trump is playing. He's playing all right. He's playing the same chess that everybody else plays in Washington. How to make more money and keep wars going. If you think he's some kind of peacemaker, I got another thing coming to you. I got a Jersey Bridge to sell you in the middle of Nevada. Reality, folks. I mean, reality. When is it going to sink in? Your property. You're being lied to. And there's nothing different than anybody that's coming up into Washington. So there you go. There you go. American journalists are now being actively murdered. Biden didn't even get to that point where they were murdered in America. Under Biden, they were murdered in, Gonzalo Lira. They were murdered in Ukraine. Now, why the hell murder them in Ukraine? Well, you can just get them at their houses. Whack them while they're walking into their house. Yeah, there you go. It's evolution, baby. We're going further and faster now. Over under, that not a single word is going to be said in the White House about the murder of an American journalist and the beating of another American journalist. All within a day and a half. A day? Yeah, right. Oh, by the way, in North Carolina, that's my stickler because I spent almost 20 years living in North Carolina. And all those folks up in the mountains, they're still living in tents or living in RVs without running water. Oh, yeah, Trump showed up. Oh, yeah, he did a press conference there. Oh, yeah, baby, he did that. Yeah. And he even let the people talk about how the insurance companies have screwed them. And since then, anything else been done? No. Now it's Trump's problem now. If Biden let it go, has Trump in 2 months done anything for these people? And don't tell me, oh, he hasn't had time. This isn't an emergency? People have been living in the cold, in the mountains. And I've got it from friends that are up there. Communities where houses are still intact, part of the houses were destroyed, part are intact, have been cordoned off and people have been kicked out and not allowed to return to their homes. The armed guards and fencing around those communities. Northwest of Asheville, as an example. People aren't allowed back into their homes. I wonder why. What's under the ground there? That's the next question. What minerals are under the ground? Never mind what in Maui, Hawaii, where all those homes are just bought up, and I guess they're now building the 15-minute city, slave city for the future American slaves, for the peasants. I don't know what they're doing there, but the point is, even the houses that survived aren't allowed. People aren't allowed back in. They're being scooped up by BlackRock or its associate companies. Hmm. And one financial company to rule them all, BlackRock. They need to change their logo to the big I, or the hand of Isengard, the white hand of Isengard. That's right. That's what owns most of America. Take a look at what they're invested in. They literally own almost all the all the high tech companies, including Musk's X. Oh yeah. Take a look. It's incredible. It's incredible to see just how much they're invested in everybody. Then take a look at the citizenship, the multiple citizenships of the owners, and who they're tied with. So yes, go take a look. Go take a look. I'm not going to mention who's who. I'll leave it up to you folks. Take a look. And they're expanding constantly because a lot of it's being done on government funds, your taxpayer money. So there you go. That big reset everybody told you about includes murdering American journalists in America at their homes. That's right. Freedom of speech, baby. You can say whatever you want. We'll just make you pay for it with your life. Oh well, and the war rolls on. And the war rolls on. I quite hope that the will of the people and democracy prevails in Romania. And that example is taken to Bulgaria, to Greece, and to many, many other countries. And the Greeks, by the way, are up in arms, if you talk a lot of Greeks, because not only is the vassal government or the governorship, the EU governorship over Greece, feeding the Ukrainian Nazis, but these are the Ukrainian Nazis that are murdering ethnic Greeks that live in Crimea, that live in Zaporozhye, in Kherson. So yeah, the Greeks got a little testy about that. Imagine that. Imagine that. Yeah. By the way, you can come to Russia and buy a pack of 10 eggs for less than $1. Well, it depends. If you want the really good eggs, it'll run you about $1.10. But regular eggs, get them about $1. I don't know what they're running in the U.S. now, $6-7. Yeah, a little or more. Yeah, the fights in Costco over eggs. Oh, wow, yeah. That's eggs. And by the way, there's no major hunger in the U.S. Imagine if the Hunger Games kicked in, real hunger kicked in. How many corpses would be piled up inside that Costco? It'd be one little egg with your blood sausage, your blood pudding, fresh blood pudding, because they'll be stabbing and shanking each other left and right. Incredible to watch. And this is just over eggs. You can live without eggs. Or, I don't know, get yourself a couple chickens. There you go. Get organized with your neighbors and have a little cooperative with some chickens. Take turns cleaning up the chicken houses and collecting the eggs. Yeah, there you go. There's an idea. The way people used to live and feed themselves. Because most houses used to have chickens in their backyard. Not just just patio furniture and a grill, but they actually had chicken coops. And then you can use the chicken crap. It's smelly, I know, but you can use it right on your vegetable garden. Yes, vegetables you could grow yourself. Oh, that's why Russians don't starve, because we do that. I got corn. I'm going to be planting corn, potatoes. I got a greenhouse that's going to have tomatoes, cucumbers, beets. And we got big strawberry patches up front, another area, and herb garden. Oh yeah. I'm building another one. I'm going to put squash. I did the mistake of putting squash in the hothouse. And squash outside, it had a limited size, but in the hothouse, Jesus Christ, it took over half my hothouse last year. I killed off my beets. Most of the beets couldn't grow because it just started growing on them. Got a lot of squash out of it, zucchini. too. So that was good. But man, that just took over everything. So I'm putting a separate one. Gonna be putting a separate one out in the yard. So it'll grow there. Putting a box together. I'm gonna be building a box probably next week, maybe this weekend. So there you go. There you go, folks. That's what you can do. Or you can come to Russia and buy our eggs. Insanity, yeah, baby. That's how it goes. That's collapse of an empire, internal collapse. And Trump, just like everybody before him and after him, are going to be feeding foreign wars because they're making money off of it. And screw you, little people. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Well, I'm not going to keep bothering you for much longer. So God bless, and we'll see how this goes. And pray for the people in Syria. Pray for the Christians that are being murdered, massacred. Pray for the Alawites. Alawites, for those who don't know, is a mix of Shia and Orthodox Christianity. It's a separate sect. It was like 20% of the population. And the Shia that are being murdered. And any moderate Sunnis, there was a imam that came out and said, you cannot murder people. Do not murder people. This is evil. He got beaten, physically raped, and then murdered in front of his wife and children by these American-funded HTS terrorists that are, by the way, not only banned in Russia as terrorists, they're banned still in the U.S. as terrorists. This is Al-Qaeda, IGIL, whatever the one name they use for this week. They change names constantly so people don't have a clue who the hell they are. They're same mass murderers. But the way the Israelis have also helped them out, and they admitted to that. So these guys are mass murdering civilians. There's about 8 to 10,000 refugees on the Russian bases. Tens of thousands are piling into Lebanon across the border. And these guys are committing mass genocide. And Jelani is coming to Europe for a fundraiser. Think about that, folks. Think about that. God bless.